Hello and welcome. In this video, we're going to be going over the Lithophane homework. At one point, this was a lab. At this point, it's a homework, which basically means you do it individually. But as you can see, the document is still named Lithophane Lab. In this class, the labs are kind of distinguished by the fact that they're like a little bit more sciencey slash project based. And the homeworks are, you know less scientific, perhaps, a lot shorter for one, and you also will be doing them individually. Okay, so with this homework, it's basically kind of an arts and crafts project. But what we're going to do is we are going to make a lithophane and a box for it basically that allows us to project a light from the back and sort of light it up. All right, so what we're going to do first is we could take a look at the document we have here. If you follow this link, we can go to the It's Litho website here. Okay, so you could see this guy. It allows you to this is what this is the page it brings you to when you follow the link. So you could do various different shapes. You could do hexagon, pentagon, triangle. We're gonna just go with our normal square or yeah, plane. You could also wrap this around various things. Oh, it looks like you could do a pumpkin. Looks like you could do a spherical one or a circular one, I guess. Yeah, lots of different options, but we're just going to keep it to the normal plane. Okay, we're going to go over here. We're going to upload a model. So we're going to go to upload. I currently have on my desktop, where is it? Jensen. So this is just my son at Sky Zone, which is a trampoline park, and there's like a couple of fun features there. So yeah, we have that one there. We can go and we can edit it. All right. So yeah, it allows you to change your luminance. Honestly, that looks very clear to me. That is like basically everything I could have asked for, I guess. I could change the brightness and everything like that. I can crop it. So yeah, why don't we crop from the bottom? Oh, too much. Cropping from the bottom a little bit. And why not? We could crop from the top. Okay, that looks pretty good. He's like more or less centered there. Uh, and then you can do various couple other things. But yeah, to me that looks pretty good. So let's take a look at the model. So this is the actual. So it's going to generate an STL for us, which we can take and use elsewhere. But that's effectively like the what it wants to make it look like. And I could change various things here. I could change the width. I could change the thickness. I could do a variety of things there. Realistically, that's like a little bit big for me. So in this step, I could change it. I could also change it in some of the other steps. So we could make it bigger or we could make it smaller, and it keeps the aspect ratio the same. So and then you have like some framing options here as well. So we can make it roughly like 71 millimeters is approximately well, 75 is approximately 3 inches or so. So, yeah, so about 3 inches wide there. Yeah, a little less than 3 inches. That's fine. Um, so yeah, and then the frame thickness we could modify, but honestly, that looks just fine to me. Yeah, so we've scaled it down a little bit. I could scale it in Cura as well. Um, but yeah, to me that looks quite good. So I could go ahead here and I could download it. And I want to download yeah, let's download the Lithophane. Okay, cool. So there's Jensen's Sky Zone. All right, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to go into Cura. So I already have Cura open. So we have our Prusa Mini 4 here, which is yeah, one of the most recent ones I've done. And then we're going to go to File. We're going to go to Open Files. It should be in the downloads. Yep, Jensen, Sky Zone. Okay. And as you can see, this is our slice. Okay. So yeah, to me it looks pretty good. We're gonna actually be printing this in two ways. All right. And the first way I'm gonna show you is through Cura, and then we're gonna create a slice for it in Cura. And then what we're gonna do is actually go to SolidWorks and make the enclosure. And then we're gonna go to another software called Preform, and then finally I'll show you how to perform how to do it, how to send in a ticket for the Ideas Hub, because we won't be printing. So we're going to be printing this ourselves on the Prusa Mini, and then we're going to print the exact same thing on on the printers that we have at school. Which are the forms printers. It's up to the Ideas Hub workers whether or not they use the Form 4 or the Form 2. But we're going to want this in one of the resin printers. Okay. So yeah, as this is in here right now, what I want to do is quickly we could use the measure tool. So if you don't have the measure tool, you could go to the settings. Sorry, no. You could go to marketplace over here. Yeah, marketplace. And then you should be able to search for the measure tool. Yeah, measure tool, and then I can install. Obviously, it's installed now, but you could install it, and then with the measure tool, what I can do is I can get the XYZ distances, okay, which will be helpful for our next step. So I could click that point there and that point there. Okay. And I could get our distances. Okay. So we'll try and remember those for next time. But yeah, let's focus on the slice. So what we're going to do with this slice is we're going to make this the extra fine setting. So like the absolute smallest increment it can go. We're going to do our normal thing with 210 or 215. That's usually what I like. We're going to make it so that it goes very, very slowly, as I like to do on the first layer. So make that go like 10, or even, that's probably a little bit overkill in terms of the speed on the first layer. But just trying to ensure that it ends up successful. I wouldn't do this, I wouldn't make this very big because we're gonna be printing it up on its you know tall side there. And if you make it big, then it has more of a tendency to turn over. What we will do as well is we will make a brim. Okay. That'll help it stay adhered to the build platform. Okay. Yep, so we could go ahead and slice this. All right. All righty. Slicing. Let's take a look at how that's going to do so we could do the preview. And we could see that. And you could definitely make out my son's face. And yeah, that looks actually pretty good. Um, so yeah, now what we'll do is we'll hopscotch around. I know I'm going to be jumping around a little bit in this video, but next what we're going to do is we're going to go and we're going to make the enclosure in SolidWorks. All right, so now that I have the part opened in Cura and I've measured it, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start a new part in SolidWorks. I hopped onto the front plane, and I'm going to start making a sketch for the outer limits of the box. Okay, and as per the rules, we're going to make this roughly 10 millimeters larger. So here, actually, before I do anything, let's put ourselves into millimeters, grams, and seconds, just because the units for the picture are going to be in millimeters. Okay, so change the units, go back into edit the sketch. And yeah, here we are in the sketch again. Let's quickly remind ourselves, oh, not that one. Let's remind ourselves of the of the dimensions. Okay, so really right now, okay, cool. So it still has the points selected, and you can see it's done. So we have a 2 millimeter thickness. Or sorry, yep, a 4 millimeter thickness overall. Okay. And then 70.52 by 80. 0.165. So 70 by 80. So we're going to make it 80 by 90. So roughly 10 millimeters larger than it needs to be. Okay. So let's go to SOLIDWORKS. Okay. So we're going to go and make this one 90. We're going to go ahead and make this one 80. All right. And we're going to click check. And we're going to features extruded boss base. We're going to extrude this about, should be like maybe 3/4 of an inch. Uh, so like, hmm, we'll just make it a full inch. So we're gonna make this 25 millimeters or so. Yeah, about a full inch. Okay, so that looks pretty good there. Now what we're gonna do is we're going to make a revolved cut somewhere in the middle. Okay, so this is going to be a little bit screwy, so just bear with me. So what we're going to do next is we're going to create a mid plane that we can sketch on. So we're going to go up to reference geometry. We're going to go to plane. We're going to click two opposite sides, so that side and that side. And yeah, there we go. Now it's doing a mid-plane mate. Okay. So I've made a mid-plane. All right. I'm going to click check on that. All right. And now I'm going to sketch on the very same plane that I just made. So I'm going to sketch on there like that. Okay. So great. Now we're sketching on that plane. What I'm going to do really quick is go from the top, so from, yeah, the bottom to the very top with a center line. Okay. And the point of doing that is after I have that center line, I will have a center line midpoint. Okay. So I could scroll down here. You see that highlighted point there? That is the midpoint of the line. Okay. So I click the line tool again, and now I'm going to click that midpoint there, and I'm going to come out horizontally from there. All right. And we're going to quickly make a little tapered geometry. All right. Something like that. Okay. So, if we remind ourselves, I'm going to quickly go to the to the canvas just to double check. So it looks like we have 6, 8, 6, 8, and 7. Okay. In reality, you could modify that ever so slightly. I think what I'm actually going to do for this particular case is make this one. I'll keep the 8. No, no, don't want that. Come on, I want 8. All right, 8 millimeters. I could keep the 6 here. Okay, I'll do the 6 there. And we will do, let's do 8 here as well. Okay. Yeah, I think I found it stayed a little bit better when I did 8. Or you could even go a little bit bigger at 9. Yeah, that'll just basically allow it to wedge in. So yeah, it might be a little bit confusing as to what we're gonna be doing here. But if you look ahead on the homework, it's relatively clear. Um, so yeah, great. And again, all this is what this is all for is to get this light bulb in. The light bulb has this like rubber ring. Apparently, they say it's for waterproofing, but it helps us like kind of wedge it in there so that it stays and all that. So here we go. Now that we've made that sketch, let's move my face so that I could exit the sketch. All right. From here, we're going to do a revolved cut. Okay. We're going to change the line that we wanted to go about. There we go. So that's the one. Okay, great. Cool. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to shell this thing. Okay. What the shell are you talking about? There's this shell feature here that allows us to sort of hollow out any sort of geometry that we might want. So we're going to go to the shell here. We're going to click the opposite face to which, the conical cut is made. So we're going to click that face. It's going to be a 10 millimeter. That should be okay. So we'll take a look at what that's doing after the fact and see what the dimensions are. Okay. So yeah, if we look back, we could go back. I think we could go to the lithophane maker. Let's go back and let's just double check what we made. Sorry, the model. We could double check what we made yeah, the frame thickness. So it looks like we made the depth 4 and the thickness 3. Okay. So really I kind of want um it to be like 6 millimeters smaller than like my overall size. Okay, so if our overall size, let's go back to Cura. Our overall size is roughly 70 by 80. Then I want that box like on the inside to be like um 65 by 75. Okay, and yeah, because it'll be more or less around it'll definitely be within the frame, but not intruding onto the picture. Okay. So again, just going through that again. So we have 70 by 80, which is the overall dimensions. Okay. So that cutout needs to fit within that, but not intrude into the part itself. Okay. And, or into the picture itself. And the picture itself is a little bit smaller. Because of the framing options that I did. So the thickness of the frame I set to 3. Okay. And obviously I have a right and left thickness, and that adds up to 6. All right. So if I go 5 millimeters less, then I'll definitely put that lip somewhere within the frame, but again, not intruding into the picture. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to go on here and we're going to check that this is going to be 65 by 75. So this one should be 65. Okay, it's 60. All right, so I'm actually going to edit this. Um, Come on, let me edit you. So instead of 10, so it was 60, so let's go to 5. Why can't there we go. It's that one. So make you 5 millimeters and let's check that off. All right, great. And then we'll measure it from there to there. We have 70. That's too much. Okay, sorry. I'm doing my math all wrong. Let's edit you and let's go to 7.5. That'll do it. Sorry, I did the wrong thing. My math was a little bit off. And let's check it again. So this should be roughly 65. Yep, 65. That's good. And then this one here is going to be 75. All right, so that's perfect to what we want it to be. Now, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to hit escape from the measure tool. We're going to start a new sketch just on that lip, on that like sort of, I guess face that is, a picture frame. So we're going to sketch on that. We're gonna then looks like it might be helpful to have a center line, so we're gonna get the midpoint of that like line segment up on top, get the midpoint of it, and go all the way down to the midpoint of the line segment below. All right. Now what we're gonna do is do another, instead of a corner rectangle, we're gonna do a center rectangle centered on that line that we just made. Okay, just so that we know we're in the middle of the box. And then we're going to go to the outside limits again. We have roughly like 70 by 80. So I'm going to give this like a little bit more clearance. So we're going to go 71. And we're going to go 81. Okay, cool. And that should mean that our piece fits nicely in that. Okay, we're going to hit escape. And then, or exit out of the sketch, and then we're going to go over to features, and we're going to go to extruded cut. Okay, this one we don't want to go quite as far as the last one, and we're going to make this a blind cut, and we're going to make it 4 millimeters. Why is that? That's because we made we made the thickness of the. I'll just go back and show you. We made the thickness of that frame to be 4 millimeters. Okay. And when we put this piece that we print inside our little enclosure, we want it to be we want it to be like flush on the top. Okay. So yep, let's go back over here and we'll finish this up. So we did that 4 millimeters. Okay. The last thing we need to do is just poke a hole through there. Okay, easiest way to do that. A couple ways to do it. You could do it with the whole wizard, but kind of the quickest way, I guess, will be to click the that plane, click sketch, and then as the that like sort of surface is selected, it's highlighted blue. We're just going to click convert entities. Okay, and as you can see, it's made a sketch, a fully defined sketch. That just it outlines that circle. Okay, we're going to go to exit sketch. We're going to go then to cut extrude, and then we're going to do through all. Okay, just to make sure it pokes a hole through, and we'll click check. All right, so cool. So we have our hole for our light, and we have the recessed portion that allows us to put our piece in. Uh, and so that is good. So we're going to save this. We're going to save this as um, underscore two for me. And we'll say Sky Zone. That's where the picture was taken. Anyways, and then we'll save that. Okay, cool. So this will be the frame that we're going to use for that picture. And again, the picture can fit in there kind of loose. It doesn't really matter. It's going to be glued in. This is a pretty low tolerance part overall, so that's why with the frame I've gone much quite a bit larger than the part that will go into it. Okay. Um, so yeah, that's great. So actually now, once we have, so we have a couple of things now, right? So we have the Sky Zone Jensen. So we could go to the preview of that. So you will need to print this. Okay. We'll also need to print the like sort of enclosure thing. Okay. So why don't we go ahead and you don't have to do this. You could obviously just print it, but I'm going to go to save project. Yep, it's Litho Jensen Sky Zone. Why don't we put these in the proper place? Okay. And we'll put that in homework and lithophane. And yes. So we'll save that. Again, you don't have to do that. You could just print it, but I'm just gonna save it. Hopefully it does it relatively fast. Okay. So now let's just go ahead and delete this guy. And then we're gonna go to file, open files. Oh, we didn't do it yet. Okay. So in addition to saving this as Sky Zone for a SolidWorks part, we're gonna go to save as, and we're gonna save this as a STL. As always. Save, do all bodies. Okay. And then now we're going back to Cura. And then now we're gonna go to file, open files. It's Litho Sky Zone. Oh, no, that's not what I wanted. Sorry. Bloopers. Open files. Let's go to home. Let's go to uh yeah, this is Litho Frame 2 Sky Zone. Yep. All right, cool. So this is what we want. We could print it like this. We could definitely get away without having support on this. Although yeah, so let's take a look here. We don't need the extra fine. We're just going to do this in draft. Okay. From before in this video, I changed a couple things, the brim and the initial layer speed and the printing temperature. So we're gonna keep those changes. Let's just make sure it did actually keep. And yep, 210, that looks fine. So yeah, that should be good for this one. And you would print it. So let's slice it to see how that would look and how long it would take. Again, this is on the draft setting, so yeah, it won't take so long to print. Okay, and the brim is nice to have as well. So yeah, that should be good there. So I'm gonna go ahead and save this project. Yep, save it in the same place. That should be fine. And again, you don't have to, you could just print it. Okay. So now we have everything that you need to print sliced. Okay, so you'll need to print the frame and you'll need to print the lithophane on the FDM printer. Okay, to compare printing abilities and resolution, really, we are also going to have you guys do this. Have this printed in on the Formlabs printer. Okay, so that comes with a caveat, and it's a little bit confusing. So bear with me here. I want you to slice it. Okay, I want you to use preform to slice it. Okay, you obviously you have the cure stuff that we've done already, but I want you to slice it in preform. Okay, however, I don't actually want you to really do anything with that slice. Okay, so the student workers in the Ideas Hub are in control over the SLA printers. Okay, you are only to use on your own the Prusa Minis in the classroom there. Okay, so don't be going and printing stuff on any of the printers that are like in front of the help desk there. Those are all for the student workers. I guess if you are a student worker, you could do that, but yeah, it's for the student workers there. Okay. So I'm going to show you how to slice and preform, but please do not use this slice and go print yourselves. Okay. So opening up a preform here. So yeah, a couple of things that we could see here. So let's go to our dashboard. Okay, sorry. Let's go to, sorry, not the dashboard. I don't want to log in. Sorry, we could go in. So we're in preform now. We go to the printers. Okay. So yeah, you can see lots of different materials here. These are all the materials that are given by Formlabs. It's kind of a different setup to Cura. But yeah, overall, like they kind of do the same thing. They create G code. All right. There's lots of different materials for your Formlabs printers. Brock is really a wealth of knowledge on their abilities and what you use to print and in what materials. As far as what we have some durable, we have the elastic, we have the flexible. Just going through, we have gray and gray pro, I believe. Um, I think we have some of the tough stuff. I bought some of the surgical guide stuff a while ago, but we might not have any more. But yeah, we have a lot of materials of the ones that you see here. Some of the castables we do not have. They have them over in the art school, so it's available at the university. But yeah, we're going to do the durable and we're going to do the Form 2. As you can see, there's no printer selected now. For the exercise here, we don't necessarily need to do that. Okay. So yeah, we're going to apply the durable. All right. And this is again the Form 2. And you could do this slice in either the Form 2 or the Form 4. Those are the two printers that we have, and it doesn't really matter to me which one it's printed in. Okay, so let's go ahead and we'll open the lithophane here. We're not going to print the cover, or sorry, the enclosure, let's say, or the frame in any of the Formlabs printers. We're only going to print that in FDM. But again, the litho phane itself, we're going to print in both. Okay, so cool. So here's our lithophane. As you can see, it's already giving us some warnings here. So yeah, let's talk about how you want to position this and how you want to support it. Okay, so this type of printer, as I'm sure you've gone over in class by now, works a lot differently than FDM. For one, the build platform is upside down, and that comes and obviously the material is liquid and then cured. So a lot of things are different as opposed to FDM. Okay, now couple of things here that make it very easy to slice. Okay, so there's this orientation tool. Okay, and I could tell it to auto orient. Okay, and it puts it at sort of a weird derpy angle, and for immediately you see it's not like straightforward as to why it put it that way. Okay, so the reason it put it that way is has to do with build plate adhesion versus screen adhesion. All right, so as the build plate lowers down, okay, it presses up against a screen. All right. And so as it's printing out, you have to be wary about if the surface area on a particular slice plane is greater on the screen than it is on the build platform. Okay, so basically, you always want it to be attached to the build platform. Okay, but if I make it so that this piece was flat, so if I just make it so that, let's see, if it was flat like that, then an individual slice would be sort of a large surface area. Okay, and it would make it so that it would want to stick to the screen and not the build platform, which would be catastrophic for the success of your print. Okay, so what it tries to do is angle it slightly to where it's not too tall. Okay, which obviously increases print time, and to where it doesn't slice the entire surface area of the part. Okay, so you can see if I do the auto orient, okay, and then I go by the layer. So if I look at the different layers, okay, so you can see that slice plane is a very small surface area compared to like if it were oriented like this, okay, and you compare the slice layer of that. So that amount of surface area is a lot more than let's do the auto orient again, than this amount of surface area on a particular slice plane. Okay, and it never really gets that big if it's oriented like that. Okay, now, do I want it oriented exactly like this? Not really. So I'm gonna put it like flat again, and then I'm just gonna tip it up ever so slightly at around 16 degrees. Let's show you the whole thing now. That I like that. It's not too tall, and it's not like at a weird angle, so it's not going to take up a lot of like build platform surface area. So really, that's all we're going to need. Even if it were tilted a little bit less, even around like 10 degrees, that would probably suffice. Okay, so we've gone over the orientation. Obviously, I want it, well, not obviously, I guess at this point, but I want it so that the surface of the like picture, let's say, is like is positioned away from the build platform. Okay. And the reason for that is because I don't want the support to touch it. Okay. So you can hover over this and it gives you a good sort of preview of like how it's going to do support. So you could go to support here. Okay, now as I've clicked the support tab, it shows a bunch of red. It shows that I have like unsupported stuff everywhere. Okay, so we're going to auto generate. Usually it's good to have it auto generate the supports, just so that you can see what's going on, or just so that you don't have to do it manually, I should say. All right, so hopefully you see what's going on after it all generates. Might be time for a time lapse. Okay, cool. So now you can see almost all the red has gone away, or indeed all of the red has gone away. And there's a lot of different touch points on the back surface there, and it's sort of created this scaffold structure. All right. Now I could edit a lot of things about the infill structure, or sorry, about the support structure, but I could, but it must be said I can't modify quite as much as I can for an FDM printer. So for the FDM printer, I could make it either tree or the normal type. Basically, with this, you're only left with the scaffolding. I could also change the touch point size on this as I could with Cura. But yeah, there's generally a lot less stuff you can do here, and I could change the touch point size and the touch point density. So I could make that a little bit reduced to zero point 0.8, auto generate. I think this should make it a little bit more sparse. Man, it's gonna take a while, I guess, huh? Jeez. Okay, there we go. Speeding up. Time lapse will be a good friend of mine for this. Okay, cool. You can see hopefully, yeah, it looks like it's a little bit less dense in terms of the number of touch points. And I could change the touch point size. And then I could go in here and I could click the edit button and I could even take out a number of these guys. So let me show you what happens. If I take out a number of them, I think it needs to load to give you a preview. But if I take out enough of them, it should, yeah, you can see that now it's good. It's getting red there. So you could try and play with it and just like do the minimal amount of these little dots that makes it so that there is no red. And you can do that if you really wanted to. So yeah, we'll cancel that. Discard support edits. Yeah, discard. So that looks pretty good. So what you're going to need to do for your submission to prove that you've sliced it here, you could do file, and you could do save. Okay. And then that file that's saved, you could the Jensen lithophane from the preform. You could upload that, and you could also upload a screenshot showing me that you've like done all the supports and everything like that. And you should include that in your homework submission. Okay, so that I have proof that you've done it. Okay. Now, the final thing we're going to do here is we're going to set up a ticket. All right. So let's do that now. So this should be the first time you guys do this. Okay, let's go. Oh, that one won't do it. Yeah, let's go here. Let's go and let's open up a new tab. Okay, and let's go to help dot temple tmple dot edu. Yep, this should bring you to this page here. Okay, so this is your TU help. Um, and I could go to request help. All right, I could do my login stuff. Hmm. All right, cool. So now we could go down to the College of Engineering. We could go to 3D print request. Okay, it has my stuff already filled out here. And now we're gonna say, yeah, college is looking for 3D print parts of social media. So yeah, it's okay that you post your parts of social media. I don't really care. Um, yeah, so this is not for senior design. You could say other, and then you could say, if it you could say in the description here it's for my 3D printing class. It doesn't really matter, as long as they're sure that it's for a class. Okay, so part full detail. So this is a litho lithophane that needs to be on one of the Form Lab uh resin printers. Um uh yeah, so yeah. Needs to be printed on one of the yeah, that should be enough. What's the name? That'd be me. You could say Tony. Project title. This is lithophane. Spelled that wrong? Yeah, PH. Lithophane homework. Part quantities. One. Part dimension. So this is going to be 70 millimeter by 80 millimeter uh by what was it? 3 millimeter, something like that. So this is going to be solid. Obviously, with a Form Lab with a resin printer, you have no choice. Is this class related? Yes. Um, uh, yep. So list printing purpose. Added added a manufacturing homework. Okay, cool. So now we're gonna try to attach the file. Okay. So let's go. Yeah, it's Litho Sky Zone. Open that up. Okay. So here we go. Maximum file size 5 MB. Okay. So looks like yeah, so we can't attach that. So what you're gonna do if you can't attach it is very simply just submit the request. Okay. Then you're going to kindly and nicely go to the help desk and say, "Hi, I just submitted a request. The file size is too big. It didn't allow me to submit it. Here is a flash drive with the STL on it. Can you please print this out on one of the Forum Labs machines?" Okay. And obviously, if you ended up scaling the STL down at all, I think I mentioned to do that in the instructions. You don't necessarily need to, as long as you do it from the Lithophane website. But you should make it, no longer than like, a little bit more than 3 inches or maybe 4 inches at max. Obviously, it should fit on the mini, and we don't need this to take a super long time to print. So yeah, have it a reasonable size so that it fits comfortably on the Mini. And then it should by default fit on all the Formlabs machines as well. Okay, that's about it for this video. Thank you very much for watching, and yep, see you next time.